Okay, hello everyone. Just let me tune the camera because I see that there are some problems with installation of the camera, and we will start. Actually, let's hold it like this. Okay, now it should be visible. Okay, so hello everyone. We are back with our live build sessions, and just let me switch on the screen so that I can see what you will be commenting on YouTube, and we will start the video. So, okay, now everything works. Here we have the main thing which will be discussed today. So we reviewed this kit in a separate kit review. As you remember, we published it on our YouTube channel. You can find it there. You can read also a review article. That's a fresh new tooled kit from Eduard. A new tooled, completely fresh plastic, which has nothing to do with previous Tempest kit, which was almost 20 years before. And it is released as a Profipack kit. And now we are going to do a project with this kit. In my opinion, it will be quite an interesting thing to assemble in 2019. And this kit already has some interesting additions, which you can purchase from Eduard website as well. And I think it will be really interesting. But the small point about this kit is that we won't be building exactly this Profipack. This Profipack, together with, just let me lift the lid, together with exhausts, wheels, and also there should be a look set on the bottom, it will be given out in a raffle, which we will be holding out on our Facebook page. And so this kit basically can be yours. So stay tuned and follow our Facebook page and you'll know more about this kit. Nevertheless, just to explain what we will be building, we will be assembling completely different set. We will be assembling this white box. White box, I think some of you know what this means. So we have these two brassine sets, absolutely the same as what you saw in the previous box, so they will be used for sure. But this set is a so-called overtrees kit, which has really interesting feature of not having any decals inside, assembly manual inside, PE thread, masks. That's just a plain plastic, and various bonuses which I already put inside. They're not included, don't be confused. You actually get only this. So this is a plastic, a new tooled plastic for the Tempest. And as you can see, we have here all necessary parts for assembly of this nice airplane. So basically we'll be building Profipack, but we won't be using the Profipack kit. So I'm going to close it, but first let me remind you that this is a number of this kit. So here you can see it. Let's switch camera here so that you can see what's the number. It's 82121X. So you can order it directly from Eduard website, and that's a really nice option for those who would like to replicate more marking options on their model. So we have plastic. We also have this tiny P set, which will be used for the build. So as you can see, we have almost the same, it's not almost, it's exactly the same P set as what we get in the Profipack kit. But here, I have to say one interesting thing, because we won't be using the dashboard parts. We will be actually using this set. This is a look set, and it has typical features for the look set. So we have freezing dashboard, we have steel seat belts, and those will actually replace P seat belts and P dashboard. So those will be left as spare parts. But that's not all. I'm not sure about this set. That's a Tempest MK5 stencils. They're also released by Eduard, and as you can see, they copy stencils. Surprise, surprise. Nevertheless, I'm not sure if I will be using them because there is one thing on the way and it might include stencils. So we will see. Let's put it aside and just I wanted to show it to you so that you know that such product exists. Nevertheless, another interesting thing which we'll be using is Tempest MK5 upgrade set. As you can see, that's a PE set which will actually bring new features to the Tempest set. So as you can see, it will be influencing, let's say, the radiator, various brake lines on the landing gear covers, and various handles on the aircraft. So it will be quite interesting to see how they will change the appearance of the aircraft. And I think it will be noticeable in 1/48 scale. So this kit, this set, and also we have the T-face set. As you remember, it is designed for internal and external masking. Here it is. And just to remind you that over 3 set does not feature any masks inside, so you will have to cut them or you will have to buy them. So this set actually might come handy for really nice paint work on your aircraft. Let's not forget that Tempest has a bubble top canopy, so that's why it's easier to get this set and use it straight away. One set which I'm not sure is this. It's a landing flaps PE set. As you can see, it comes in form of this typical Eduard PE upgrade. And it looks nice, but it will involve a lot of, let's say, modifications. We will have to cut original plastic, we will have to modify it somehow, and we will have to work with PE parts a lot, so it might be not that, let's say, nice experience, because some model is even afraid of this. So maybe I will be including it as a bonus for the raffle kit. Maybe I will be using it for our build. I'm not sure yet, so just do not take it, let's say, as a 100% product which we use in our build. So I will put it aside. Another thing is Tempest bracing wheels. This is a late version, as you can see. As you remember, original plastic kit has quite nice wheels, but those should be even better. And as you can see, masks are included for these wheels. Obviously, they are just a matter of installation on the original landing gear legs. So it will be interesting to see how they change the appearance of this kit. And then we have exhaust stacks. Another bracing set, which looks quite nice. I was quite surprised with exhausts, original plastic exhausts, so that's why I decided it's 100% sure that I will be using resin replacement because it looks way better than what we get in original plastic kit. That doesn't mean that original plastic parts are really bad, but once you see resin parts, you won't be going back to the plastic. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 upgrades which will be used on this kit. And there are several more which are on the way. As you remember, it's also 2 which we are not sure if they will be used. But those ones will be used for sure, 100% guarantee. Now we put them aside. And what I would like to do is to check the assembly manual so that we understand what we will have to do. Over 3 kit implies that we don't have a decals sheet, and that's really a nice thing because we won't be limited by the marking options. From the other side, we will be limited by the choice because we don't have a decals. So if you have some recommendations on which marking option to replicate on this aircraft, I will be happy to hear from you, and just write it in the comment section below. So here we have assembly manual. I took it out from the Profit Pack kit, sorry, but of course you can download it from the from Eduard web store and use it sorry, on the tablet. So we have here a short history note, we have also parts map. That's not interesting thing. What is interesting is this. So we have here assembly process, which starts with assembly of the pilot seat. Then we continue with cockpit floor. Then we have also sidewalls assembly, etc., etc. So as you remember, marking guide has 5 marking options to offer. None of this can be replicated because we don't have decals included in the overtree set. So that's why I won't be limited by the choice which is supplied in Profipack. And that's why maybe I will be searching for some alternative marking option, or maybe just replicating some generic appearance. So here you can see first page. And meanwhile, I am going to try to find the E60E sprue and also F sprue. So those are those two sprues. Okay, that will be the first step for this assembly process. By the way, another interesting thing is that fish plates on the Profipack kit, they're replicated with help of P parts. So I'm not sure how you're replicating them on the overtrees if you keep in mind that P fret is not included, and that basically means that you will have to buy them or you will have to schedule them, because as far as I remember, some modelers were really furious about P parts and just to make things easy. So here we won't need this one, we won't need this one as well. So I put them aside. And then we need E sprue, and also we need F sprue. This one, I guess. As far as I can guess. Yeah, there we have the pilot seat part. So let's start the assembly process. I'll put the assembly manual here. And we will start with the pilot seat. So pilot seat should be assembled out of several parts in it, but that's not the only we have to check, because we have also this the P upgrade set, and as far as I can see, we don't have any pilot seat parts, so they won't be actually influencing anything. So we can proceed with a plastic set. Okay, so this part, the central section of the seat, is attached via 2 attachment points. So be careful while separating it. I'll try to show it also on the other stream as well. So now we are going to cut it off, actually to saw it off. I see many modelers who are using the sprue cutter, but I am not that huge fan of sprue cutter, because usually I just damage the parts, especially when there are really thin attachment points. So it's just easier to use the hobby saw, so that we can do the process faster and cleaner. So here you can see what we get once we, let's say, cut off the part. I will try to focus the camera on the seat part. Actually, it does not focus, so let's use our palm. Now try to focus. I am not sure why it does not focus. Yes, now you should be able to see it. So as you can see, we have some pattern replication here. Also, we have attachment point left on the rear side, so we will have to clean it somehow. And otherwise, it looks really good. So I'll just move light like this. Let me tune the stream, because my stream was auto switched to 144p. I'm not sure why. And that's why I'm reminding you that don't forget to switch to the better video quality, because you will get completely different appearance and you will be able to see more features on those parts. As far as you can see now, it goes 720p. Okay, so we are going to cut it. I'm not sure if I understand the comment. So we are going to ban you guy. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm cutting off this pilot seat part. What I love about what I like about the Eduard plastic is that it's really easy to work with when you try to cut it, when you try to clean it, and you have to really have hands from the wrong place in order to damage the part. And that's a really cool feature, which even more useful for beginners. So that's why I recommend to my friends to start from Eduard kits, especially their nice Hellcat, which is really easy to build, and it's nice when you have it in finished state. And it doesn't matter which scale. I prefer 1/72. It might be surprising, but 1/72 is even nicer when you assemble it. But of course, you can choose also 1/48, which, as far as I remember, it is older than the smaller version. So now I have the different sprue, and here we have to take these parts. These are actually the side panels for the pilot seat. I'm going to solder them off as well, and we'll check them closer in a second. I will be happy if you comment about the raffle, because I need to understand if it will be interesting for you, if it will be engaging for you. I plan to do it, let's say it straight, I plan to do it as a 10 slots by $5. All this money will be used for photo and video equipment, so they won't go anywhere else. And I promise you that you'll see it in our video reviews. Changes will be noticeable. And for example, now we still need the tripod. I plan to get one really nice model, which will help us get a better view on the parts during video reviews. But of course, if we get more money, we will be able to get even more advanced equipment, which will bring even more interesting views on the build reviews. So here I am cleaning the sidewall for the pilot seat. Okay. What's funny is that these walls are connected by several attachment points, so be sure to clean all the parts, because otherwise it will be visible on the finished model. As you can see, I'm using the scratching with a hobby knife. Chancellor, nice to see you too. I'm just starting. I was looking forward to this build because I was on the let's say Christmas holiday trip. I just returned from it today, and here you can see the sidewall for the pilot seat. It looks really good, and also it has those guiding pins, which will be actually used during installation to the cockpit wall, to the rear armor wall. And here you can see another thing. Again, we have one attachment point, second attachment point, which has to be cleaned in a careful way. So what I was saying, I was looking forward to build. I was actually considering several kits as a candidates, let's say, for this, for the next project in 2019. But then I was like, yeah, we have this new Tempest. It was released relatively recently, let's say. It came out in December, as you remember. And why not build this nice set in 1/48 scale, especially if you consider that I'm not that, let's say, focused on the aircraft kits during last builds, because these were mainly armor builds. And I can say it straight that I still have some issues with fuselage finish. So that's why it was interesting to try myself again and see what I can get from this plastic. So Yeah. White Typhoon is interesting for me because it was one of my first models when I was, let's say, restarting modeling. I was building the 1/72 scale kit from Academy. You can find build review on our website. I didn't do the build video at the time. Nevertheless, it turned out to be a really interesting build, and now I want to see what, let's say, fresh plastic, completely modern kit has to offer. Because obviously, 1/72 scale kit from Academy is not that fresh, if you know what I mean. A model kit, but I mean, yeah, it might be an interesting idea, but which one exactly? Because they have a lot of novelties almost every month. That's good, but I mean, really huge choice of various aircraft kits. So if you have some ideas, I will be happy to hear them. I heard that they have really nice jet fighters in 1/72 scale, if I'm not wrong, or not confusing them with some other manufacturer. But I'm not sure about their assembly quality. Because assembly quality, we all know that A model is not the, let's say, Tamiya level of the quality, so it will be really fun to build this kit out of the box. And we will have to do the age rating for this build reviews because there will be a lot of swearing. But jokes aside, I mean, it might be an interesting project. If you have some ideas, we can do the poll next time for the next build. And I think it might be an interesting project, assembling something in 1/72 scale from a model. So what I'm doing now, I'm using the extra thin glue from Tamiya just to have this part in place. I'm not pushing it too much because I don't want to have the seam warped with the glue. As you remember, this glue actually melts plastic, so that's why I'm not that, let's say, oppressive on this part. Okay, so we have one side glued, and now we have the second one. It is quite interesting because these side parts, they have slightly bent top section. So be careful while working with it. Do not break it or do not lose it somewhere else. And once you install this part into the seat middle section, it's actually a good fitment. So really doubt that you have any problems with assembly quality. So now I'm going to apply this glue on the other side as well. I'm still not sure about the cockpit, about the canopy, if I want to have the open canopy or I want to have the closed canopy, because I mean, in my opinion, open canopy has a point to do if you have a Bracine cockpit, but as you can see, I don't have the Bracine cockpit. I did not receive it, so I'm not sure if it's worth opening the cockpit. But from the other side, we'll have the look set, so maybe we can do the open cockpit. But let's not forget that the Tempest has bubble top canopy, so even if you close the canopy, still almost whole cockpit will be visible through the canopy. Okay, so we have this part in place, and now we have to attach a really small part. It's E5, and I just need to find it. And E5 is here, so this part. Let's sew it off. Well, I am glad that this is not a P part at least, because this handle could have been replicated with P, and then it would be a really funny time to apply this part on the plastic, but we have it out of the plastic, so it should be easy to work with. And okay, So here is the handle. And just so that you understand the size of this part, here is a toothpick. So it's that tiny part. So be careful while working with it. And now we are going to glue it. On this side, we have special recessed installation point. So I hope it will be quite easy to do, as long as I will understand how to do it. Okay, I think I do understand now, because we have 2 installation points actually. So I just slide the part in place. So as you can see, it holds even without glue, but obviously we will use the glue, really small portion of the extra thin glue, so that part just stays in place, and that's all. I can see that there is a small gap between these 2 parts. So I'm going to press a bit. Okay, so we put the seat aside and also close the glue. So next we have this Cockpit 4. Cockpit 4 is part E46. It is quite noticeable. Here you can see it. And as you can see, we have 2 attachment points to the sprue and also 2 molding pins, which you will have to delete, obviously, in order to be installed inside the fuselage. By the way, here you can see exhaust, but we'll check it in the separate video review. So 128 Fiddler is a very challenging build, but the work you get. Yeah, I'm also thinking about the helicopter. I was flying home today and I was thinking why I'm not assembling any helicopter kits. I mean, I assembled cars, I assembled robots, I assembled airplanes, but I haven't assembled any of the helicopters. And that might be an interesting deviation from all those typical topics. I'm not sure what I would like to assemble. I thought about Airfix kit. As far as I remember, they released one British helicopter. Forgive me for not remembering the exact name, but they released something in 1/48 scale. And I think it might be worth trying, because I've never assembled the Airfix kit, and it might be a good try, but a model Yak 28 might be a good idea. I just, I would say I hate the small scale big models, this, let's say, paradox combination. When you get the small scale, but the model is still such huge that you can't even fit it on the table. So Yak 28 might be an interesting choice to build, sorry. And I will definitely check it out, because it's not that easy to get a model kit from, not from, but here in Czech Republic. So it might be interesting topic for a separate article, or maybe a separate video on how to get the A model kit in Czech Republic. Anyway, I'm now sending the attachment point pins, links, and Marilyn. No, I think there was something older. My memory gets older. It's on my mind, but I can't remember the exact name. It was 1/48 scale kit, and the frontal section was opening. So if you know what I mean, feel free to comment. And by the way, sorry for not mentioning the Tiger 1 build. If you have photos, feel free to post them on Facebook page. It would be cool to see them in the finished state. This is a model in the finished state. I haven't tried the Airfix at all. I haven't tried the old kits. I haven't tried the new kits. So that's why it might be an interesting experience for me. And we will see. This month we have Spielwarenmesse. As you remember, that's the toy fair. Sorry for coughing once again. And on this toy fair, I expect to see a lot of interesting releases. I'm not free to tell you which ones, but obviously I will publish some. We have really interesting topics coming this year. I'm not sure about precise dates when those kits will be released, but you get some hint. So here we have some plastic pin in the bottom, but I won't be even trying to delete it because it will be on the bottom of the cockpit floor. It will be closed by the fuselage halves. So we just close it inside and we forget about it. It won't, let's say, influence somehow on the fitment. So I don't see any possible problem with this. And here you can see the cockpit floor. It looks really good. It will look even better after applying washes on all those recess points because they really deserve proper weathering. So next we have really funny stuff. Why? Because we have the rudder pedals installation, but why I'm a bit confused because we have installation of PE parts, and then we have pedals, rudder pedals with bars as it is. They're fixed kits, the recent ones. Really good, but I mean, once you assemble it, you understand what is good and what is not. All the kits look nice before you start to assemble them. So part E67, I'm trying to find it. I see the rudder pedals, and here's a part E67. Note how thin it is. I mean, it's really thin, so be careful while cutting it off, because it might be a surprise for you if you cut it off and break it. But here I have one small idea, because I need to get the P screw. Just give me a second. Why? Because there is an instruction that we should get the PE parts for upgrade, and they will be used for other pedals, and I'm not sure. So here we have the PE thread. I will remove it. And we will be using the part 32. Here you can see it. And also the part 24 and 23. But why I'm not sure is because I think there should be a plastic rod, or shouldn't be. There is nothing written about this on the picture, on the assembly manual, but here you can see rudder pedals, and they look a bit different from what we will get once we build the pedals. But I think it will be okay if we use pedals without plastic rods, because as far as I can see, appearance will be approximately the same, so that's not that huge issue. So what we are going to do now, we are going to use the extra thin CA glue, and we are going to apply those parts in the right spot. Obviously we will need a sharp knife, and I'm using my stone table because it will be easy to cut the parts on it. I recommend to use really hard surface for cutting PE parts, because then you get the precise cut and you won't actually damage the PE part. You'll be getting precise sharp cut without any extra beads, what might happen in other situations. So now I'm going to open the CA glue. Just to explain that I'm coughing because I was on Christmas trip in Russia and also in Kazakhstan. So in Russia, in Moscow, it is approximately -5, -7 degrees. But then you come to Kazakhstan and it is -30 degrees Celsius, which is quite comfortable temperature if you think about it. But actually, the main cause of the coughing, let's say, is that on the aircraft which I'm flying, we had the door sitting not the right way, let's say. So there was a strong wind blowing right on my neck, and that's why I have, let's say, my neck not in that good condition as it could have been. But I hope it will fix itself soon, and I won't be coughing on the video reviews. But for now, I'm sorry, I will be doing it. Okay, so I applied this P32 part here. Here you can see it. I hope you can see it, but I will show it later in the separate take. And now we get parts P23 and P24. So I close the glue so that we don't have any happy accidents. And we cut off this rudder pedal. First we cut one, then we cut the second one. Never cut off both parts because it is easy to lose them. And even more probable is that you would damage them or throw them away somehow. So be sure to work with one part at a time. So here we have this P part, and now I just need to trim it a bit because as far as you can see, my knife is not that sharp anymore. And also be careful while trimming these parts because they should be bent, and this means that they're really flexible, but they're flexible only several times, and after this they become self-destroyable, and you have to be really careful while dealing with this stuff. So here we have this pedal. Maybe you will be able to see it, maybe not, but again I promise you that I will be showing it in the following step. Why I'm a bit confused, because we have external detailing, so as far as I can see we have to bend this part inside, and I just need to find my tweezers because I had the plain tweezers, which should be easier to work with. So here we have this part, we take the plain end tweezers and we bend this part as it should be. Why I'm using the plain tweezers? Because you get the right angle. Some people use the P benders, but in my opinion that's too much just for bending the pedals, and you get approximately the same result. So do not use the mortar gun for killing sparrows, some people say, and try to work with simple tools. So here we are, and we also applied this part here. And actually that was a wrong sequence. So we apply first the pedal platform, and here I will need the sharp tweezers. Okay. Now it's in place. Then I just attach them together. And maybe what I will do is put a small drop of the CA glue in order to get the proper bond between these two parts. So just give me a second. And as far as you can see, one part is not fixed properly. So I'm going to use our favorite toothpick in order to hold the part in place. We bend this P part. We have it in place too. Okay. And now we just apply the CA glue. Nah, I'm flying Cessna 150, so decompression is the least probable thing that can happen on this aircraft. And so that's, I mean, that's not that serious thing. You usually get this stuff on this aircraft, but I mean, that's not that pleasant thing to have, I would say, especially if you consider that you were just in the really cold atmosphere. You were not ill because of this, you are ill because of the dump seals. That's really infuriating thing, let's say. Okay, so I'm trying to glue the pedal into one spot. Then we'll install it on the aircraft. As usual, CA glue works fine with my fingers, but it doesn't work with P part, which should be actually glued. So we are going to use a bit different approach. Actually, what I'm also thinking about is using the soldering technique on P parts, but this won't be the kit where I will be actually trying this. I might try it in the next build because I have already soldering iron. I have also the tool for this, but I'm not, let's say, feeling like trying it now. So, okay. And part is already broken off due to a lot of movement. So now I have to glue it from both sides. That's really nice. Obviously, I will not give up because it is interesting to have the P part installed in the right spot, not the plastic part, and plastic part looks worse than what we have in P. So just give me a second to get the CA glue and to put it in the right spot. Okay, so we put this part here, we use another tweezers, and we press it a bit. Maybe you can hear that it's raining in the January outside. It's also quite funny thing to have, especially when you come back from seeing the snow everywhere around, and here it's raining like mad. Weather decided to surprise you. Okay. So pedal seems to be in place. I'm not sure if it will hold in place, but I can feel that tweezers are a bit dirty, so I'm going to clean them. That's another thing. I mean, it might sound funny, but always clean your tweezers, because otherwise you might end up with really uncomfortable situations. Okay, so part seems to be glued in the right way. I'm not sure what is better, snowing or raining, because I mean, come on, we are all used to see snow. I don't like snow, but I mean, rain is not that good either. And as far as I know, it was snowing here several days ago, but now everything melted down and we just have rain again. So I am still confused about this pedal. I'm not sure what should be done. Okay, so it should be installed like this. And okay, so it should be installed like this. And now we should glue it on the pedal base. And that's another interesting thing to understand how to do. I'm not sure. I mean, here in assembly manual, we have the PE parts installation process displayed, but then we have the plastic parts displayed in the assembly process. So obviously there should be some holder for PE pedals. I don't see it on the PE thread. And let me check the plastic parts. And plastic parts have it in place like out of the box. So it's not the separate element. And I'm not sure how those pedals will look like once installed into the right spot. But I mean, let's try it. So one pedal goes here. It's PE 23, so 23 goes to the left here. And now we need the CA glue. I was also reading today one of the fresh model magazines. I'm reading them too. And it was interesting to see how everybody is happy about the big scale releases. I don't have, I think, just a second. It's not like easy to attach it from the first try, but we do attach it from the first try. You just have to press a bit. So on the Telford model show, several companies presented big model kits. One of them was Cockpit in 1/24 scale. And there were also several bombers from HK models and from Wingnut Wings. Okay, so part seems to be glued, but it looks not that good in my opinion. Just hold yourself in place. Okay, now it stands still, so I'm not going to move it. Seriously, I mean, I haven't heard about the UK and snow. Maybe I wasn't reading news recently, but I mean, here they don't have any problems with snow. I mean, because we don't have snow. But in Moscow, for example, I was there today and yesterday, and it was like really heavy snowing. So maybe they have the same problem. So what I was saying about the big scale kits is that I'm not sure why everybody is so happy about these releases. I mean, I can bet $100 that only few modelers will actually buy it and assemble it. And that's not just because the price is huge. Price is not huge if you consider the amount of, let's say straight amount of plastic you get for this price. That's because we spend money on different kits and then we whine that we don't have enough money, price is too high. But I mean, even if some modelers will realize it, it won't change anything. And still we will get we will get the same situation that everybody will be complaining on the pricing, and then only few lucky ones will actually get the kit, and even fewer will actually build it. That's even more ridiculous in my opinion. So I mean, we all know this story when you get kits for your collection and then you end up with a huge collection which you won't be able to build in your lifetime. So that's why I'm thinking if it's worth getting the kit just for the sake of getting it, or it was saving money for your favorite kit and then actually enjoying building it. I mean, not being afraid of damaging it, of getting the shitty result, just building it and enjoying it. We can agree that only, let's say, few modelers can actually, few of us can do such stuff and enjoy it. So that's my main idea. I mean, do not waste your time on the kits you don't like. Our hobby is not about the stuff we don't like. Our hobby is about the stuff we really like and appreciate. So now I'm going to appreciate finding, yeah, here it is, the toothpick. And I'm going to glue the part. A lot of super glue. A lot of super glue on the pedal. Okay. Seems to glue it in place. Man scale, seriously. Oh, come on. Yeah, I mean, everybody started from 1/72nd scale kit, and I mean, 1/72nd is the right one if you want to have enough space for all your builds. Otherwise, you might end up with having to argue with your wife or having to find another huge shelf. And what I like about the Wingnut Wings bomber, that they are the first who actually came to idea of producing the only the nose section of the aircraft. I mean, that's, it might sound silly, it might sound dumb, but in my opinion, it might be an interesting build when you build only nose of the bomber in 1/32nd scale, obviously. So it doesn't take half of your room, and still you get an interesting build to have in your collection. Well, 1/72nd is, I wouldn't say that it's overlooked by manufacturers. Recently we have, let's say, a renaissance when we get a lot of kits in this scale. And I hope that this year we'll bring even more, but 1/48, I mean, we should admit it, is easier to work with when it comes to super detailing your kit with various upgrades. You get to show more features, you get to replicate more features, and that's, I'm saying this even though I'm not that huge fan of 1/48 scale kit. I mean, this one is what, 1, 2, I think it's fourth or third 48 scale model I'm building. I'm not sure, but it's not that, I mean, many 1/48 scale kits I've assembled, and even less I've assembled in 1/32nd scale. It was only Comet from Mank. Quite an interesting kit, but not that good fitment, really ruins everything, and you have to deal with it somehow. And I didn't have a lot of experience at that time, so it was a nightmare. You can find build article on our website, So if you want to see the final result, I really recommend to check it and have a small laugh at it. Because at that time I also tried to use the big scene from Eduard. And once you combine the plastic, which has problems with fitment, with PE parts, which are, let's say, designed for heavy modifications on this plastic, it's even funnier situation which you have to solve somehow. And obviously it's not that easy task when you don't have any experience of doing this stuff. And pedal doesn't work good with plastic. As you can see, it just does not stand in place. So I'm not sure why actually. So just give me a second. I will lose the pedal and we will use the plastic parts. But jokes aside, I also have somewhere the debonder, so I should be able to use it if I will be dissatisfied with the result. Oops. Come on. I remember there is a nice company which is called as a Voyager. I think some of you met sets from this manufacturer. They produce PE sets. So PE sets are really great. I mean, I don't have any complaints about them. But once you start to work on this stuff, it's really like, wow. Because you get to know a lot of new swear words which you didn't know before. P parts are really tiny, even though you are working in 135 scale actually, because it's armor. You still get a lot of tiny pieces which has to be applied somehow on the model, and that's really funny thing to do. Okay, so I am stuck with this pedal. I'm going to apply it in a second, because otherwise I will just glue it with some stronger solution. You see, once you threaten to this P part, it comes in place, it stands in place. I think I also have some problem with my tweezers because they stick to everything. So just apply this part here. What's sad and funny here is that pedals won't be visible on the finished model, in the finished cockpit, but still we waste time on the P parts, which will be barely visible. Yeah, snack food. That's why I don't have carpet in my flat. Did you see the cockpit section in person? I mean, I saw only photos, and from what is visible on the photos, it looks good. I mean, I can predict that we will see some P parts from Eduard for this. I mean, because it will be really strange if they won't release P parts for the nose section. And it might be an interesting project too. I just wonder what will be the price for all this. Because obviously wing nut won't be cheap. But I want to have the nose section. It will be fine to display it on the table. So I might end up getting it somehow. Steel P pedals do not attach properly. do the necessary section. I'm not sure why. Let me check it closer. Everything seems to be right, but it just doesn't go into the place. I see on Yuki sent. So nice to meet you. So, I mean, yeah. PE parts require really good eyesight. And did they mention the price of this set? I mean, I'm really curious what will be the price. I expect them to be on Spielwarenmesse, so I will definitely ask them to tell the price, or at least to hint on it. It would be even cooler to have whole bomber available in sections, you know, so that you can replicate, for example, tail section as well. Or you can place one wing on your wall. That might be also a good idea for decoration. I mean, we all have such crazy ideas in our mind, let's admit it. And it might be cool to have such unusual builds in our routine. I don't understand what is happening with this pedal. Just there is not enough attachment surface to have this part fixed in place. So that's why I'm stuck trying over and over to have it with a slight tilt. So what we are going to do, and also I have tweezers which are stuck as well. So what I'm going to do is to have the pedal applied like this. And we just wait until it dries. I still want to buy a small hair dryer in order to have the faster curing time for the paint, for the glue, but I haven't bought it yet. So it's just amazing. I mean, it doesn't attach at all. So we are going to do this thing. We are going to apply the super glue in really enormous quantity because I'm going to gather it with a part and to have part attached in place. So now, what's funny, it works on the opposite side. It doesn't work on the right side where it should be. So just give me a second so that we don't waste our time gluing one pedal. Wall display might be a good idea as well, but I mean, I'm not sure if many modelers will actually display it on the wall. Okay, just don't understand what this part needs to be in the right spot. There is like a lot of super glue, a lot of CA glue, but still it doesn't hold in place. I'm not sure if CA glue actually works, because one part attached without any extra problems. But this part, I mean, just look at it. It doesn't glue at all. That's interesting. So we try to remedy it with mixing the glue and applying the fresh portion. I just wonder if this huge scale obsession will get any traction. I mean, it's all cool and nice to see 124 scale kits, but how many people actually getting it and actually assembling it? I haven't seen really a lot of guys. And that's not to say that even 1/32 scale requires a lot of, let's say, courage to build it. Not to buy it, but to build it. And it's also not a secret that 1/32 scale kits cost a lot, especially if you're getting Tamiya or something like this. So I'm not sure. But again, as I said, it's also a matter of the right priority in our hobby. So if you're going to save money for the right kit which you like, you might end up with really nice huge build in the scale bigger than 132. And then just give up whole shelf for one model. Okay, so it looks like the pedal doesn't want to get into the right spot. Well, in Japan, Eduard should be available as well, as far as I know. They even have the special Facebook page. I'm replying to our Twitch friend. Oh, American Madoes. Come on. Stereotypes. But jokes aside, I mean, yeah, I see a lot of big scale builds on US exhibitions, not on the European ones. Here in Czech Republic, sometimes you get the 1/32 class, and then you see only few models exhibited, and it's really surprising. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's oriented only on the US market. I think it will find fans all over the world. Hellcat is quite well-known aircraft type, and I'm just not sure that it will be popular. I mean, Tempest is popular because you all understand why. And with Hellcat, I'm not sure that it will work that perfect as a Tempest. But as far as I know, Hellcat offers even more features than the Tempest kit. That's quite surprising, I would say. And I have no doubt that we will see a lot of upgrades from aftermarket manufacturers for this set. I mean, there's just a honey hole. You have a lot of different things to upgrade with help of P, with help of resin. So it's just a matter of time when they will release it. Now I'm going to try to use the temperature to fix this pedal in place because it's really getting ridiculous. We are spending a lot of time on this pedal. Okay, now it seems to be in the right spot. I'm just going to tilt it a bit. Glue doesn't work. I mean, I'm quite surprised. Yeah, it doesn't glue. That's why there is this problem. So I'm going to mix it a bit, because otherwise it will be really funny. It's just like plain water, and that's all. (1/24) Kate. By the way, I saw today that Mura is releasing quite interesting twin-engine aircraft, so it might be a thing to consider. I think my CA glue is dead, but we'll try it nevertheless. So this Japanese aircraft, twin-engine aircraft, is quite an interesting thing to assemble instead of all those Spitfires and Messerschmitts. But it will be interesting to see the detailing level on this kit, because we all remember how Mura treats detailing on their kits. So it might be an interesting project as well. And actually it will be interesting to see if they participate in Spielwarenmesse. Okay. Straight away I can say that rudder pedals will be a bit not in the right shape, but I hope at least they will be holding in place. Because it's just funny how CA glue doesn't work when it has to work. And I just can't attach the part. I mean, you can see that it doesn't glue the part properly. It doesn't glue my finger. It doesn't glue anything. You see, at least part is glued to my finger and then just tear it away. I'm not sure why we have such effect with CA glue. With Focke-Wulf 190, I'm not sure if the project is still alive. I mean, we saw the offering from the Revel, and I mean, it is not difficult to admit that Revel kit was quite nice. There were several upgrade sets, resin upgrade sets from Eduard, which can bring detailing to really amazing level. So I'm not sure if we really need another one Focke-Wulf, or we just have to stop in the right point, let's say, of time. So, okay, another try. We glue this part, we fix it in place, and still doesn't work. I think I will end up using the hot glue, just placing this part in place. I mean, you can see that it just slides off and it doesn't work. So, and this pedal is glued properly, so that's quite surprising what is happening here. I'm not sure what is happening here, so just give me a second. I'm surprised too. I mean, the first part worked perfectly, and the second part is just like pouring water and nothing happened. I guess my glue is too old for this. Maybe. Now it seems to be catching. Or not. Nah. Still does not work. Okay. So I think I have to go to the shop and get the CA glue for this because it's already ridiculous. I mean, you can see that I'm pouring it on my fingers and it doesn't even glue my fingers together. And this means that we have really bad CA glue. And bad CA glue means that we need to get the new one. So I'm going to put this pedal aside and close this CA glue. It's not about acceleration, it doesn't like set at all. So I'm not sure if it's working. And on the Twitch, sorry, I'm ending the stream because the battery is low. I will continue in the evening, so stay tuned. And so what I was saying, the bond is not there. And just give me a second to switch off the camera for the Twitch. And the bond is not there, so yeah. I mean, I do it all the time before the build. I do wash the hands. Maybe it is the parts, maybe not. I am not sure. But definitely the part does not attach. What I might try, I sometimes do this. It might look like barbarian method, but I will use the CA glue after the extra thin Tamiya glue. So I'm going to apply this here. Now I'm going to wipe it off. Okay. And then we are going to apply this pedal back in the right spot. But what we are going to do is to also, we have to clean the pedal because the pedal is not clean, so that's why. And also another thing I'm thinking about is to sand the part a bit because part is quite smooth, so it might be also an issue. So just give me a second. I'm doing the sanding to get the rough surface because maybe it's due to the polished surface on the bottom, and that's why it's difficult to attach. So okay, we have it sanded. But I think we will have to buy the glue because otherwise it's just ridiculous what we get here. And we just going to apply this. By the way, look at the fingers. Fingers are covered with CA glue, but they're not not sticky, not attaching as usual. You have it with CA glues. Yeah. They usually have such stuff on the pedals. And I mean, you just use tweezers and you use the Eduard actually has nice CA applicator. So you just apply it on the part and you should be good to go. I mean, I'm not sure if you have 148 scale or you have 1/72 scale, but in 148 scale it was quite easy to assemble pedals for Wolf. Okay, so glue doesn't work still, and we will have to buy, or I will have to buy the CE glue just to have part in the proper position. But what we can do is to cut off this part and to apply it on the cockpit floor. So just give me a second. I'm going to carefully sand it off. Because still we can glue the pedal when this part will be on the floor. And it won't be that difficult task. So the only thing I have to do is to clean this part in order to remove attachment pins, which we have there. And now say glue is trying to catch my fingers. That's really nice thing to have. Okay, be careful with this pedal base because it's really thin. So that's why I'm using the hobby knife in order to clean it and have everything look nicely without any additional issues. And another end I'm going to cut off by placing it on the plane surface. Okay, so here it is. And we glue it to the cockpit floor. Cockpit floor means here. And we had to use the extra thing glue. We just attach it here, place it here. We wait a bit to part. For part to dry. And then we will go to get the CA glue, because otherwise it will be a funny situation when we have pedals looking ugly on the whole cockpit. And what else we can do is to cut off the rear wall. It's F14. So F14 is actually this part. And be careful because top section should be painted black. So it will be a matter of masking or maybe using the brushes. But I'm going to cut it off and glue it anyway. So we saw it off. Okay, a bit of cleaning. Okay. And we glue this part here. It should look like this. First I need to blow off all dust, and then I think we can do it like this in order to get the right angle. We apply a small amount of glue here and here, and then we lift it off, press a bit, and wait for the parts to dry. So I will stop the build, the live session on this moment. We definitely need to get the new CA glue, because otherwise we won't be able to assemble all other parts on this kit. This CA glue is dead, so I'm going to throw it away. And I will be back in several hours. We'll continue the building, and stay tuned. We will see each other in 2-3 hours today. So it will be interesting to continue building or assembling this cockpit. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Don't forget to press the like button, because it will help us greatly. Bye.